Welcome to another episode of the JR&Skipps podcast where we bring you a rundown of everything that has gone on during the week. We touch on sports, entertainment, and whatever has been buzzing on social platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yo, let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. First thing first, I want to take the viewers back to our very first episode. And if I remember clearly, JR said something like, "You don't need to argue with Arsenal fans. All you have to do is just wait." So it's been a long wait, 22 years. What a Premier League champions. What are you saying, my G?
Wow. Petty Peter grew. But I mean, it's fine. You can have your dance. It's okay. You deserve. I mean, we've been
Yeah,
friends for
absolutely.
about 18 years and it's about time. So, yeah, enjoy. Enjoy.
Yeah, like it's been a lovely week, seeing the how the celebrations went. It kind of pissed me off watching Crystal Palace do their end of season shenanigans, but at the end of the day, you have to give them it's their stadium, so let them do what they want. But seeing
Exactly.
the Arsenal players lift the trophy, looking at Miles Lewis Kelly at 19 years, a Premier League winner, Bukayo Saka finally lifting up the Premier League title, my boy Declan Rice, Odegaard, Capitan, and I'll never let me not forget Max Dowman, the youngest ever Premier League winner. So it's been a very long time coming. We waited, we got bantered, we were called the butlers, but eventually we trusted the process, and Mikel Arteta has finally delivered. So I have to say, big ups to the boys, big ups to Mikel Arteta, big up to Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice, and big shout to David Raya. It's been a long time coming, and I'm super excited and over the moon. Come on, you Gunners. So quickly, let's talk about the Arteta and the current group of players. Is there any player that you think deserves a special shout out due to the Premier League title won by Arsenal?
First things first, like you said, kudos to Arsenal. I feel when you win a league title, like there's no denying how deserving you are to win the trophy, right? Because it's a tracker of your performance over a period of time, right? So
Yep.
if you're first after 38 games, it clearly shows that you are clearly the better team in the best team in the league, rather. So kudos to Arsenal. Big ups to them. They've been progressing with their league positions. I think it went from eighth to fifth to second, and now first again, right? So, the team, I think they've done their parts. They've grinded and they've broken the ceiling that everyone set for them. But back to your questions, for me, my standout performance, right, will be David Raya, and I feel I could say the old defense basically because I think Ferguson said defense wins you titles, right? There's a reason
Yep.
why Raya had I think 19 clean sheets, right? Even though he gets the
Yep.
plaudits with the Golden Glove, we have to also compliment the defenders that were in front of him, right? That shut the door as well. So big ups to the entire defensive units for us. Now those are my standout performers because even in times where maybe the attack wasn't firing as much, they made sure that they shut everything out at the back. So the one goal there or the little difference from the attackers who basically delivered the points, right? They didn't give up many opportunities to the opponents and basically just give Arsenal the best base to build and grab the title. So if I was to pick one, I would say David Raya, but yeah, the entire defense for me.
Okay, I think that's a very good shout. And I have to sort of agree with you because I think David Raya has had a fantastic season. Three straight Golden Gloves is not a joke, man. I don't think that's even ever been done before. So
Mm-hmm.
that sort of highlights his importance to the Arsenal team. And I do have to give a special shout out to Declan Rice. I think Rice really is a warrior, man. Like he was there in terms of carrying the ball forward, winning the ball back, defending with his life. So Rice is sort of that all rounder. And I have to say, if we didn't spend £100 million to get him 2 years ago, we probably have never won this Premier League title. Probably 3 years ago, actually. I'm not sure. I think two or three. So special shout out to Rice, but I have to agree with you in terms of who was the standout player. I have to give it to David Raya because if you want to go back to the West Ham game and think about the Matheus Fernandes save that he
Mm-hmm.
made, that could have just made the difference because if West Ham scored that goal, maybe best case we draw the game, score in the last minute or even lose that game. and that would have probably given Manchester City the required momentum to end up giving Pep Guardiola a nice farewell with another league title. So,
Exactly.
kudos to David Raya, three Golden Gloves in a row. So yes, I agree. He's also my standout player. So quickly though, let's talk about the domination. Because we're looking at the scenario where Arsenal have won their first league title.
Excuse me, did me what?
The domination, my G. Because we basically went from second to first. So what that tells you is there's been a clear pattern of performing at the highest level, even though we were unable to cross the line. So, going into next season, I personally don't see why Arsenal will be dropping below first and second if you want to look at our performance in the last 4 years. So I'm going to tip Arsenal to dominate the league for at least the next 3 to 4 years. It doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't necessarily mean winning the title for the next 3 to 4 years, but I can bet that in the next 4 years we're probably gonna have another two titles to add. And Mikel Arteta is gonna match Arsene Wenger's record in terms of three Premier League titles. What are you saying in terms of domination? Who do you think is gonna take over from Arsenal, if any, or do we retain the title?
Um, if you're saying your idea of domination is Arsenal is probably going to win another title in the next 3 years, I would say sounds reasonable, right? That's basically 2 in 4 years, right? But is that really a domination?
Nah,
I
three in
think
5 years. 3 and 5.
3 and 5. Oh, so you're saying you're probably going to win two in the next
Two
three
more in the
years.
next 4 years. Yeah.
So that will make it 3 and 5.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, well, I'm not even trying to be a hater. Yeah, I think I realistically see Arsenal winning it maybe one more time in the next 3 years, right? Probably maybe go back to back because it's probably a
Yeah. I
transition
see back
season.
to back.
It's a transition season for some other strong contenders,
Yeah.
and you guys have a solid base. But I don't think dominance in the sense that, in the sense of what we had City or prior Ferguson teams doing, where we have 3 league titles in a row or 4 league titles in a row. I don't see that from this current crop of players, and I don't think it's probably going to happen in the Premier League anytime soon. I think the top is probably going to keep revolving for a bit. We'll have some things do back to back for sure, but I don't see anyone three-peating or doing a quadruple. So to your point, I don't think Arsenal will quote and unquote dominate, but I think they have the most prime squad. No, their players have been together for a while. The base is still
Yep.
very solid and young in the sense of you have Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, Rice, Gyökeres going forward, right? Saka. This is still a relatively young crop of players. So I'd say I don't expect them to drop lower than second. I mean, we've seen stranger things happen in football, right? And
Yep.
injuries, and anything can happen. So I hope that's the case and Arsenal fall off. But taking off my hater cap, I don't think that's probably going to happen. I would say probably you guys will be first again next season. But yeah, let's see. Domination might be a stretch, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we're going to see. Time is going to tell if we actually go ahead and dominate, or if we, you know, if you want to look at Liverpool, for example, they won the league at a canter, spent close to £500 million, and ended up finishing fifth. So that tells you, just as you said, anything can actually happen. But in terms of how Mikel Arteta plays, and kudos to Mikel Arteta, man. I think I've been talking a lot about the players and all that, but I haven't really given credit to the man himself who made this happen. Because I had my moments where I doubted Mikel Arteta. But if we remember on the pod, you actually asked me a question in terms of if we were to win the league, will I still be comfortable with Mikel Arteta continue? And I was like, obviously I will if he actually went and won the league. So props to Mikel Arteta. He's done an excellent job. Yes, there's been concerns about his style of play, but I hope this league title sort of releases the handbrake and we get to see a more stylish and attacking-minded Arsenal team. So quickly though, there's been talk about biggest club in London and all that.
Oh my God.
I'm going to leave the yes. There's always going to be talk about Chelsea have won two Champions League and all that, blah blah blah. But man, look, Man City drew against Bournemouth, and then you have 100,000 Arsenal fans turn up by the Emirates. Man, when you're big, you're big because only a big club will be able to attract 100,000 people in no time. And the whole basically London was shut down. So what do you think in that aspect though? Do you see Arsenal as the biggest club in London, or do you still want to give it to our noisy neighbors? What are you saying?
I mean, I think it's delusion from Arsenal fans to think that they're the biggest club in London because, by, I mean, what parameters are we using to base it off? You said based on 100,000. Excuse
No,
me.
I'm talking cultural impact. Not just how many
It's
trophies you won.
things like that are intangible, right? Because there are no verifiable ways to measure cultural impact, right? To your point, I agree. Like,
100,000 people turning up is a way to
yeah, because
measure
for some of
cultural
them, it's
impact.
a once in a lifetime event. Some of them, like, it's
Yeah.
22 years since the last Arsenal Premier League win. So it's 22. Some people are 21, 20. You have a lot of 20, 20, 19, 17, 16-year-old Arsenal fans. So it's a once in a lifetime event for them. So I'm not surprised that, and some people since the advent of social media, they've not actually celebrated an Arsenal trophy. So obviously, we're going to see, like, basically, I'm not even trying to throw shit. I'm saying if you guys double, like, let's say Arsenal defend the title and win it again next season, do you think you're going to see 100,000 people in the streets? Hell no, because it's
But I
basically a
think
thing
we're
of
gonna
like.
see at least 50,000 people though.
Exactly.
You know.
50,000 is a lot, but I'm saying why you're saying a record amount of crowd is because this is something that does not happen in a very long time, right? So I'm not even trying to downplay that. I'm just adding a little bit of context to that. But let's bring it back to football. In terms of when you say you're the biggest in a city, right? It means you've won the biggest trophies or you've won the most trophies amongst everyone. And by that logic, I don't think you guys have won more Premier League titles than Chelsea, no. Have you won more European League titles
So
than
let's
Chelsea?
not forget
No.
Chelsea have like 6 league titles. Now, I'm not just Premier League titles. The Premier League started how many years ago? So that's why you can talk about Chelsea having more Premier League. But man, we just clocked 14 league titles. Chelsea don't even have half of that, man. So there's levels to this shit.
Okay,
No cap.
then we could say in the Premier League, Arsenal are a bigger team than Chelsea, right? But in the
Facts.
context of London as a whole, as Chelsea have won the Champions League twice, if I understand, and that's just a little that's a different type of prestige, like banter aside, right? When it
Yeah,
comes
I guess
to
we just have to wait
so
till
you have to wait and
Saturday,
see until
uh,
you
and
win
we gonna see.
PSG. Chelsea is still the biggest club in Chelsea in London for now. But if you
Okay,
probably
so I have
yeah,
to disagree with that. My boys, Arsenal are the biggest team in London.
of
So
course.
screw Chelsea. We don't even want to talk about Chelsea. And on Saturday, we're gonna, end up winning our first Champions League title in history, just to cement our place as the biggest club in London. Now, watch our
Okay,
money
okay. I
fans.
love the cockiness.
Watch,
This title win has brought out the cocky
Chest, my
gunner. I
G.
love that.
Chest. Up Gunners. See,
Gunners.
everyone that's been under the rock certainly has something to say. Well,
Right.
as you said, it's been a long time coming. Mans have been waiting for this title. Honestly, bro, I couldn't believe it, man. We did talk up in terms of our predictions. We talked about Man City dropping points possibly against Everton, Bournemouth, and Aston Villa. So when I saw the Junior Kroppi banger, I just knew, man, it's really happening today.
Right.
Worst case, they draw this game. But I won't lie, when Haaland put in the goal in the 95th minute, I was like, man, these guys again, like just let us go, let us breathe. So I'm glad Bournemouth held up for the draw, and we're able to wrap up our 14th league title. So bigger things to come. Champions League final coming up on Saturday.
Okay.
Just to wrap up this Arsenal section, though, obviously I'm obviously going for Arsenal to win, so I have to throw that question to you. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League final this coming Saturday?
Um, this has nothing to do with me being a hater. It just ties into what I would want as a hater. I think PSG will probably win, but I'm not ruling Arsenal out. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. I just think PSG have a little bit more experience and variety to their play for those type of
Okay.
games. But Arsenal might surprise me. But yeah, I think PSG win it.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think right now the game is a free hit because if we didn't win the Premier League title, then we would have been going to Budapest with a lot of pressure, knowing that that was our only opportunity to have silverware for the season based on
Okay.
all the talk about quadruple, treble,
Mm-hmm.
double. And, at least now we have the Premier League in the bag. So the
Mm-hmm.
guys finally know what it means to get it over the line.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be less pressure on the boys, and you just never know. I'm going to tip Arsenal to win the game 1-0 by set piece goal.
Nice
So,
points. Nice points.
yeah, that's how I see it. Set piece, defend for the rest of the game, lock it up, and win our first Champions League final, and then we get to sing set piece ole ole. So I think that has been a very good session catching up on the Arsenal Premier League title, and I hope we can celebrate another silverware by next week. So once again, guys, thanks for joining this session. Please remember to follow us on social media. It's JR_Skipps on TikTok and Twitter, and JR_Skipps_podcast on Instagram. Tap in.
Let's go.